supporting a partner with postnatal depression. It obviously different from experiencing it firsthand, but definitely still an experience of that itself.
Yeah, and I think it's sort of like, and that is a really good point, because though, like, we were really lucky with my wife, we had 4 kids and we didn't experience that.
Yeah. Good on you guys.
That was,
that's really good to hear.
Yeah, but I know, like, my wife has lots of friends who did.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And they found it hard because my big thing about mental health in this country is that we still are very under the, for lack of a better term, British mindset of, like, we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
or just get up, get on with it.
Yeah, come on, cheer up, keep calm, carry on. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Keep calm, carry on.
And and it really bugs me because it's like, well, actually, no, the difference is we should not be, we should be keeping calm, but you can't just sweep it away.
Yeah.
And that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to be like, no, we need to talk about it more and get rid of that whole stigmata about it. One of the things when we had my friend Carl on last week that we talked about is his son passed away in Ward 21 in Palmerston North Hospital.
That's horrible.
It was really sad. But one of the things I brought up to him was like, it's known as Ward 21. No one calls it what it actually is. And if they just gave it a better name, like mental health awareness ward, or mental health treatment support, wellness.
I was thinking mental support,
strength-based kind of name rather than a hospital.
What about
ward.
like mental rehabilitation?
That's great.
Yeah.
I actually think that's really, really good. Yeah. Because in the hospital they do have physical rehabilitation, so why not?
Yeah.
There you go. And that's that sort of thing.
Mental physio.
Mental physio, yeah. It's that sort of not trauma, that's that stigmata of like, oh no, we tuck them away in Ward 21. You know what I mean? Yeah. And whereas if it was just called something better, it wouldn't be such a big thing. And people would be more willing to be like, yeah, I had to go there to get help.
Yeah. And people might also, you're talking about lots of people going through postnatal depression. I think there's probably still too many women that wouldn't even know that they're going through that. And so to have those conversations also gives people information that they might recognise whilst they're actually in the early stages of going into depression, rather than coming out the other end and going, holy shit, you know, I was in a really bad way and I didn't even know, because it becomes normalised very quickly. Yeah.
And I think a lot of the times the cases of that is only really picked up by the people like Plunkett, you know, because they're trained to look out for these things and notice these signs. And thank God they're there. And not just Plunkett, there's other organisations that are the same. But whereas if it was more widely known and more like followed up by your GP and all that sort of thing, it might be picked up faster and dealt with in a better way, you know. The one thing I will say that I think has been improved greatly is like my dad had an operation a year or two ago. And one of the things they did is they profiled him before the operation, because it was on his spine. And so they're like, you're not going to be able to move a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're going to have to be really still for a while. And one of the things they did is they profiled his lifestyle, and they're like, okay, before we give this operation, we're going to give you 2 weeks of antidepressants and then give it to you afterwards, because you're not going to be able to live the lifestyle you had before. It's going to make you depressed. And so he was blown away. He's like, I don't know, you know. And then they're like, no, really, this will make a difference to your recovery. And it did. It made a huge difference. So he was on antidepressants for a while and then had the operation, and then you know, it meant that he could manage the stress of not being able to go for a beach walk every day, you know, and the things he did every day. So
the chances were that high that he was going to experience some form of depression. They used them as a preventative. Wow. Okay.
And it helps that they did the profiling and they picked up like there's a family history. So they're like, we want to avoid everything and just help you heal. And
yeah, what do you reckon about that?
I see the point he's making about it, like like the preventative measure of it, you know, like with like postnatal depression as well, like just how absolutely common that can be, and the screening idea is a great idea.
Yeah.
And I feel like that should definitely be something that's a lot more common. Like, that's the first time I've ever heard of that. My partner actually had spinal surgery in August last year.
Yeah.
And I don't think they did that with him.
No.
And I mean, thankfully, I don't think it was as necessary to.
Yeah.
But I would say from the experience that you've shared there, it definitely sounds like something that should be a lot more common with anything that actually impacts your daily life after it happening, you know?
Yeah.
Like leg surgery or back surgery, especially back in, you know, spinal surgery, because that impacts everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how did he cope? I won't mention his name.
He just I think he just kept himself distracted mostly.
Yeah, that's good.
And now he's just kind of forcing himself through it really through the recovery stage. He's dealing with it a lot better than he potentially could have.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. So he's doing really well, but he has had a really good recovery, a lot better than they expected as well.
That's really good.
Yeah. So they did expect with him specifically, you know, a couple days in the hospital bed after the surgery, and then, you know, get up from there. And he was actually up day one.
Wow.
He got up, and then they came in, I think 2 or 3 days later, and they said, okay, you know, it's time to get you up for the first time. And nurse came in and was like, no, he's been up for days. And they were like, what? And so he's definitely had a really lucky go of it, as much as you can when you need spinal surgery. But yeah, definitely something that I feel needs to definitely be put in as part of it. I'm saying definitely a lot.
That's okay.
But yeah, it sounds like something that absolutely needs to be a part of it, is that screening, because it impacts everything. And you know, it's obviously going to make it worse, especially if you've already got it. It's going to make it so much worse to be limited more than you were before. Yeah
It's, I think we got a long way to go. I think it'll be a long way before the complete medical, like, that's something that's across the board, but hopefully it's something that maybe becomes more common. Right. We're sitting here. We've actually been rolling for like 7 minutes. So we're sitting here. So you might have noticed Kels sounds really different. So Kels is still getting plastic surgery at the moment. That's what we're telling everyone. Kels is getting plastic surgery. He went from, he got a nose job and he didn't like that because he went from Tito to Michael and he didn't enjoy that. And then he went from Michael to Eazy-E, and now he's decided to become Ice Cube. So a good choice. You know. Yeah.
Dunno.
You got to be recognisable with it, you know.
Well, that's just it. He really likes that movie, Triple X, the sequel. Do you know what I mean?
No.
And
No idea.
Right, okay.
Neither.
Friday so he's getting the dots put on his face, and like, of course, like, you know, Ice Cube's 6'2" and Kels is like 5'1" or something.
It's all mindset, you know.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. He's getting some pec implants.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's doing the whole thing.
Okay, getting stretched.
He might be back soon, so that's the key. So so we've got 2 people here to join us today. So this came about because my good friend Therese was like, for a while we wanted her on the podcast, and then she's like, I've got a friend who should be on the podcast. Yeah. And I was like, well, hook it up, Therese, and she did.
Yeah. And here we are.
So welcome to the show, Therese and Earla.
Thank you.
Did I get it right?
Yep.
Cool.
Thank you.
There's nothing worse than people get your name wrong, eh?
Lifelong struggle.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Yeah, so welcome to the show. And I was just saying before we started recording, I said to her, I know nothing about you, so let's just hit record and go. And so far, so good. Yeah. So, welcome to our little wee studio in the back of my house, in the little wee garage and all that sort of thing.
I'm loving the rainbow of balloons that are behind you right now.
Yeah, I do too. I really like it. We were going to take it down. There was that shimmery thing as well. Yeah. But it keeps falling, so we've kind of given up on that. But this is all going to get redone soon, this whole thing. So we're going to have... I've just bought the cameras to go up. And lights are next on the to buy list. And then we're going to clad all this, and it's going to be a whole thing.
Cool. It's going to be set up as like an official studio.
Yeah, so we're going to do video and audio. So you can either download it as a podcast or watch it on YouTube. Yeah. The YouTube version will be shorter, like it'll be cut up to be like a half an hour thing, because people just don't really watch like hour and a half videos. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Apart from me on YouTube. But yeah, so it's very exciting. So welcome. Man, I don't know what you want to talk about. Like, we're just here. Firstly, how are you both? Like,
yeah, I'm pretty good. Yeah,
doing good. I just kind of nod to everything and then forget that I'm being recorded.
Yeah.
So I just kind of nod along and then I'm like, wait a minute, that can't be heard.
Yeah.
Good.
What's been happening? So, well, tell us about your single.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I feel so awkward talking about myself.
Oh.
Therese, tell us about her single.
No, it's been really cool. I wrote it because I was in the middle of having an anxiety attack in the second lockdown in September 2021. Wow. And I've always just tried to, when I write music, it's always been about getting that feeling out and kind of like, I suppose, journaling, but for me it was just always that way. So I kind of did it that way and then actually liked it enough that I was like, you know what, I'm actually going to go ahead and get this recorded. So put it out in December 2022, which is pretty cool. A milestone for me because I've never been a big advocate for myself, but yeah, it's been a big step, so it's been really cool. And just another thing of trying to open up the conversation more about mental health. Yeah.
And did you find, obviously, because the lockdown hit people differently, like the first lockdown for me was the worst one, and then the second one was breezy as, like, but for home life reasons, do you know what I mean? Like, it was easy to do. We shed some weight, if you will, in the house. Yeah. And it was much. We had 11 people during the first one.
Wow.
Yeah, and for the second one we had 6. And so that was me, my wife, and the kids. Do you know what I mean? So it made it, that's what I mean. Like, the second one for me was good, but the first one,
sounds like it would have been really hectic.
You just couldn't go anywhere. Yeah, you couldn't get away from anyone.
Yeah.
We hadn't built this yet, so we couldn't come in here.
Oh yeah.
It was just like, it was constant, people everywhere. And at the time, I was working for home for the time, and my computer was in the dining room, and that's where the kids did the schooling. So it was like...
joy. Yeah.
It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
But so I can certainly appreciate what you're saying, because it wasn't easy. It was really hard, and everyone struggled with it. But did you find writing, did that help you get through?
For me personally, yes. Yeah, because it just, I suppose, externalized what was very, very internal at the time. Yeah. So I found it's really like an outlet. Like, for some people, they like to paint, or some people they like to just like physically get it out, go to the gym or go for a walk or something like that. And I found that the best way for me to do it was just to be able to physically see how I was feeling on paper. And I mean, I don't really know why I'm like that, but it works for me. So
that's it.
Yeah. So that's always been really good. And in that moment, for me, it was a really low point because I had a lot of trauma myself growing up, and it was the first time I talked to my partner about it. So everything kind of just hit me at once. So for me, it was more that than the lockdown itself, but it happened during the lockdown, so at least I didn't have to go into work during it. But definitely difficult regardless.
And can I just ask a question, like, when you say you opened up to your partner about your past, had you been together long, or was it still like or was it like a new relationship or established, or
well, we'd been together probably about 6 months at that point. And just one of those things that, we just moved in together pretty quickly. Just decided there wasn't really a point in spending lockdown separately, so he's kind of lived with me since then. And it's worked really, really well. But that was one of the things where it was just the moment where I felt like it was I was actually ready to talk about it, and I felt safe enough to talk about it, which was really bittersweet, because really hard to talk about, but good to express it.
And it obviously strengthened your relationship.
Definitely.
Because he didn't run away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's always a good sign. Like,
yep.
Because you do hear about people opening up for the first time and they lose friends or partners or whatever.
Yes.
You know, and they
definitely lucky in that
just
regard.
Don't hear back, So that's amazing. That's an absolutely amazing story. And does he... obviously you're very musical. Is he the same, or is
he likes music and he's very supportive of me doing it.
Yeah.
And he's got family members that are very, very much into the music scene and have been for a very long time.
Great.
But I don't think it's his thing to do personally.
Yeah.
Like he's not a musician. I think he could be if he wanted to be, but it's just not really his interest.
Not his thing.
Yeah, he just really enjoys listening along, you know. So yeah, it's really cool actually. He actually helped me write the song a little bit, which was really cool.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a really cool experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, not that he will talk about it too much, but yeah.
He likes you to have the credit. Obviously.
Oh, he's a sweet guy. He's a pretty quiet guy too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't get to meet him because you came to a show, so I didn't get to meet him, but I did see him.
Yeah.
I think you pointed him out, and I was like, "Hey," and he was just like,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
But hey, that's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
The other question, just thinking about this, so obviously writing it was very therapeutic, but then you've got to sing it.
Yeah.
And was that hard? Like, was it a hard process, or was it once it was out, and you felt good about it, and you could do it?
I think the hardest part, like the singing part, was actually easy.
Wow, yeah.
Because I've been doing it for years.
Is that right? Yeah.
It's just the first time I've ever been public about it, and it was the publicness of it that was the hardest for me. Yeah. Because it was just so personal.
Yeah.
That when I first put it out, I was like, oh my God, what if no one likes it, and that was really freaky. And I had a really great response for it, which was really cool.
Yeah.
So that definitely boosted my confidence a little bit. But yeah, definitely just the public side of it, that was the most difficult versus verbalizing it, like by singing it.
Yeah.
After writing it down wasn't too difficult for me.
Yeah.
I just suppose it's just always naturally been a part of that process of externalizing it for me.
Sure.
So yeah, definitely. A lot
Okay,
easier for
yeah,
me.
because that's a really good question, because you're putting that expression, that emotion into singing, aren't you?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd probably be very emotional to bring a lot of that stuff back up for me if I was performing something that deep or that personal to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of really cool that you can you know that art or that craft so well that it's just another technicality, I guess, to sing it, is it? Or
Yeah.
are you feeling those things but just not on a deeper level, because you put that the expression in your song is amazing, the
Thank
depth,
you.
depth of that. So
I suppose I don't know. It's just the way I've always done it, really.
right.
Sometimes I just play random chords on guitar and then just sing, and it just kind of ends up coming out how I'm feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
I've had really random realizations in my life because I just feel a certain way and I don't know why. So I just start playing and then that comes out and I just record myself doing the whole thing, because then you can go back and write it down and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just I suppose I haven't really thought about it too much to be fair.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you've done this a bit. Is this the first thing you've put out?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
But there's other things in the vault, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been writing songs since I was 10 years old.
Wow.
Before I had any real life experiences.
Yeah.
I taught myself to play guitar after listening to Taylor Swift.
Cool.
So I suppose it started on books I was reading as a kid and hearing the Taylor Swift songs and how those made me feel, and just writing what I imagined romantic experiences and breakups to be like.
Yeah.
And then as I got older, it became more therapeutic, but I suppose it just kind of happened so slowly I didn't really think about it. But I've done it for so long that, I don't know if they're necessarily all good or not, but they're there. Yeah.
That's awesome. Because it's much like I've always thought, my cousin's a musician as well. Well, two of my cousins, I should say. One of them's a producer and one of them's a musician.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it is. They're amazing. I saw one of them today and it was great to talk to him. And we always have said that, especially my cousin Grizz, who's the actual musician, that comedy and music, we do stand up obviously, they're both very, very similar in terms of the sitting down, the writing, and then the performing.
Yeah.
And the the being able to remove yourself from the context for the performance.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's and it can be really hard. I know for me, like, I've written stuff about mental health and I've never performed it.
Yeah.
It's always just gone like, no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, mostly because I'm like, nah, I don't think this is funny. But it's also like, it's one thing to be on a selected podcast that not everyone would tune into, then be on a comedy stage where people paid money to be entertained and not walk away depressed, you know what I mean? Not walk away going like, I don't know about that. So you do have to pick your, you know, where you're going to release it. And that's why I think music is really good, because it's like you're tuning in for emotion.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's something I wish I could do. I can't sing a lick. Like, I can talk all day.
Well, that's the cool thing about music. You don't need to, you know?
Oh, no,
like, I mean, hey, you could rap.
No, I don't have that. I'm musically deaf. Like, I can't. I can't play a note. I can't sing. I can't do anything. Like, it's not in my brain. My sister got all those genes. She can't do what I do though, which is this or on stage. She can't. She's like, she can't do it. Yeah. But I can do this, and she can do that. So I've always been very jealous of people like you who can write a song and then be like, now I'm going to release it, and I'm like, if only.
I think it looks a lot easier than it is, to be fair.
Course.
Yeah. I had the song, I think, recorded for about 6 months before I was just like, nah, I got to get this out or I'm never going to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just sat on it for so long because I was just terrified to, but yeah. I
feel how's it been for you since?
It just feels normal now.
Okay.
Yeah. I honestly forget it's there most days, and then I'm like, oh no, that's right, I've got to do something about that. Yeah.
And so has it inspired you to do more though, because you've now done that first one?
Yeah.
Definitely. So, it's put me on a little bit of a trajectory. Not anything too hardcore or anything like that, but definitely I'm saying definitely a lot again.
Don't worry about it. Don't even think about it.
I just hear it a lot. Honestly, I kind of forgot what I was saying, sorry.
No, that's all right. Just has that given you the confidence to do more or to do more publicly? How are you feeling now about, are you going to release something else in the same way, or are you going to get into promotion a little bit of your songs or performance?
I'm going to get into, I've got a song that I'm going to be releasing in May, cool. That I've just come back from recording about 2 weeks ago.
Wow, cool.
Which is really exciting. And one thing I think I learned from the first time that I'm trying to implement more the second time is that self-promotion. Because, you know, if you just put it out there and then leave it, kind of like I did the first time, then, you know, the only people who are really going to see it are the people who immediately sort of follow you. But if you sort of promote it more, you're more likely to actually get it out there, of course, as is the way with promotion. So, yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. The other thing is I wanted to ask is, like, obviously this is a new, not new because you've recorded lots before. This is obviously the first thing you put out, and it was about your mental health. Did you get any surprise from people? Like, I didn't know this about you. No, to be honest. I feel like I almost expected to get that. What ended up surprising me was people who I didn't realize could empathize with it reached out and was like, wow, like, you know, I really felt that when I heard it, you know, and I really understand how that feels. And not expecting to hear it from those people. It is surprising, eh? Like, I'm surprised. When we started doing this, I was surprised by the amount of people that came forward and said it's made a difference. Like, it's really helped. Or your stories like mine. Or like, just like you said, very surprised, and people were like, I never thought you would have this. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you're always the happy guy. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you don't see me at home, you know, and that sort of thing. So it is, it can be surprising. It can be surprising. And it's also amazed me how many of my friends have come to me and opened up and been like, I like just talking to them, and I'm like, and I take this medication. They're like, I take it too. I'm like, get it. Wow. I know where to get some. You know what I mean? I know when I run out who's going to hook me up. It can be quite surprising, eh? Like, it really does blow you away. And with your mental health as well, like, what's that journey been like? Was this something you've always suffered from, or was it like you talked about you had abusive experiences growing up?
Yep.
So do you think it's a result of that, or do you have like a family history, or stop me if you don't want to answer this?
No, that's okay. I don't really know about family history. I do know there are some people in my family who might feel that way without going into too much detail.
Yeah.
But I feel like that all stems from personal experiences as well, rather than family. Hereditary, thank you, that's the word. Yeah. So for me, I think that it all, or a lot of it at the very least, stems from the childhood experiences.
Sure.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And like I'm still going through what works for me. Do you know what I mean? I'm still working that out.
Yeah.
This podcast has been the biggest thing, obviously. But for you, was that music? Like, or are you still working it out? Or has it been medical? Has it been therapy? Like what?
Therapy, definitely. Yeah.
So you would advocate for?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's been. I definitely would not be in the mental space that I am right now if I hadn't started going to therapy. Yeah, absolutely.
And that first time you went, was that easy? Was it hard? What was it like?
It was difficult, but it was almost relieving as well, because I'd been to therapists before because I was feeling these feelings, but I didn't register why I was feeling that way. Yeah. Because it was one of those things where, you kind of block it out, you kind of forget it happened in the first place, and then realized a lot later. And that's when it all came, and I was like, oh wow, okay, so that's actually why I've been feeling this way. That all makes a lot of sense. And then it was after I started therapy, after realizing truly why I felt that way, and actually having that deep, I want to fix this, I don't want to feel this way. And that's when it really started making a difference. Yeah.
And you still do that?
Definitely.
Still going to therapy and talking to someone?
Yes, 100%.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think I thought at the start when I first started going to therapy, I thought, this will do me for a year. After a year, I'll be good. I'll be mentally healthy. And I'll set myself up for the rest of my life. Exactly. Yeah. And the more I go, the more I realize I'm going to be doing this for years. Yeah.
And that's fine.
Absolutely.
And it's actually probably better than those people who would stop themselves after a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And let's just say, well, I gave it a year, or I gave it a try.
Yeah.
At least you've carried on. That's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, you've obviously found what works, and not just that, but obviously found someone you can connect with.
Yes.
Because that's a big thing. Like, I know one of my friends, he's told me he's gone through several people.
Yeah. And how common that is, and how important it is to keep going. And it's natural to not have that automatic click with somebody, so it's the same with therapists, right? Like,
definitely, you got to shop around for them.
Trying.
Oh yeah,
as hard as it is, though, right? Because because like you could give up, like if you've been to 1, 2, or 3 or whatever, and just go, well, it's not working for me, so maybe therapy isn't for me.
Yeah.
But in actual fact, maybe just the therapist wasn't
the right one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is hard, and especially because there's a limited resource, and there's a big waiting list.
Yes.
And a huge
everyone's just so booked out.
Yeah, it is really, really hard, and something I wish we could do more about, but it's like without study. Although I will say, just to give credit where credit's due, my wife came to me the other day, she's like, I want to do a psychology course, and I was like, choice.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, and she's like, it's going to take 3 years of like sacrificing time, but it's like, no
massive
problem.
Yeah.
I'm like, great, I don't have to pay for therapy. I get it free.
So what'd you learn today?
I'll just lie in the bed and be like, tell me about your day. Oh, that's amazing. That's really, really good that you've got that.
What do you find has worked for you? Like
this.
Yeah. So you find just having that dialogue about it.
This is my therapy.
Yeah.
Stand-up comedy is the other one.
Yeah.
I get mental if I can't. No, that's the wrong word. But you know what I mean. I get
in your head.
In my head, I get agitated and angry if I can't do a set
without that outlet.
without that outlet. And it's funny because, like I said, I don't get on stage and talk about it. I talk about anything else.
Yeah.
But it's still that artistic expression that does it for me. And so that's the other, teaching comedy is the other thing. Like we just last night finished our latest comedy course.
Cool.
So I run that. Therese has done it. It's run between me and another guy, Morgan, and that's another thing. Like I did a teaching degree a couple of years ago now, just so I could be like, I just was like, I want to be as good as I can with this, and that's made a real big difference. But doing this,
that's really cool.
like while Kels has been getting his plastic surgery, I've been a wreck. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like I didn't have my buddy. Because what people don't see is that like we'll turn up, he'll turn up here, I'll go to him, and we'll talk for half an hour before we hit record.
Yeah.
And that's our therapy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And because Kels is so, he's been through the mental health system, like been through the ringer, to be honest. It's like what he doesn't know. Do you know what I mean? Like there's less of what he doesn't know than what he does know. So he's really good to talk to about it. The hard thing is like we're both guilty of this, and we both acknowledge it all the time. Is like I'll turn up and I'll be like, oh bro, this is blah blah blah, and I'll go through it all. And then he won't want to tell me about his problems. And then he'll turn up and be like, oh, my health, blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, oh, well, I'll talk to him about mine next time. And we got to stop. We both do it all the time. And then, like, the next day I'll be like, I'm really struggling. He's like, I was there yesterday. Do you know what I mean? It's like, why didn't you talk to me? It's like, you were upset. I didn't want to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but this has been a big thing. And it's also helped because it's also opened up more conversations between other people where now I know, like, if he's unavailable like he is now, I've got Therese, I've got Carl, I can talk to, you know, like people like that who I can go like, hey man, I really need to have a chat. The other one is Tyron in Wanganui, my friend in Wanganui, as I know I can just pick up the phone and be like, I'm having a hard time.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, don't worry.
It's so important to have people like that.
It is, yeah. And as we said, even if it's your friends you want to talk to, like keep going through friends until you get the one who's like, I will listen and I'll help you. And even I'll help you, I will just listen and I'll be there for you. Because one of the things that I worked out the other day, funnily enough, through a personal experience, was there's such a big difference between people going, what's wrong with you? Or why do you feel like that? Then people going, what can I do?
Yeah.
And most of the time the answer, I'm sure you know, is nothing. There's nothing you can do.
Just be there.
Just be there.
Just listen.
Yeah. And the amount of people I've had message and be like, can you just come hang out at my house? We don't have to talk. Like, let's just sit down and watch a movie.
Yeah.
And afterwards I'm more like, how was that? Do you feel better? Yeah. Heaps better because someone was just next to you.
Yeah.
Some form of connection, eh?
Yeah.
When you're
difference.
feeling hugely alone or or just down.
Yeah.
Even if it is a distraction,
Yeah.
sometimes there's just enough to get you to that next point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It's really big. And that's...
So have you got that? Have you got friends that you can call on and go, hey, I'm just having a shit time or whatever it is. Just be here?
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah. I often, it's funny you say that as well about how, you know, you might come in and vent and then the next day your friend comes in and vents. Yeah. Because I do the exact same thing with my friend as well. We sort of, like, one of us might vent and then after a little bit it's like, oh my God, like I totally forgot. I'm so sorry. I've been talking about myself for an hour. How are you doing? Yeah. Yeah. And it's really easy to do that when you've got someone that you can actually just genuinely talk to about it without that feeling of like, oh my gosh, I'm being such a burden or wow, they're going to think I'm crazy. Yeah. And just being able to like, oh man, like this has been happening and I feel this way about it. And yeah, we're really social creatures. It's so important to have someone that, even if you don't talk to, you can just sit next to.
Yeah. Makes a difference, eh? Go for a walk together.
Yeah.
You know, don't have to talk and all that sort of thing. I have a question I want to ask, but you both. And this, I've learnt this from my last podcast, and I'm now going to ask everyone this, right? I think it's really cool. When you're having a bad day, right, whatever that looks like for you, right, and you're lying in bed and you're like, I'm not getting up. What's the thing that makes you get up? Like, what's the thing when you do it or hear it or whatever, you're like, gets that foot out of the bed. Do you know what I mean?
I tell myself, just do something. Doesn't matter what it is. Get up, have a shit. Yeah, one thing.
Yeah.
And then the next thing will come to you.
Great.
And more often than not, that works. Like even if it's just getting up and having a shower, and then thinking, going through a list of things where I'm like, no, I just want to go back to bed. But I make myself think through things until something I go, yep, I'll go and do that.
That one thing.
Push myself to go and do it, but I'll do it.
And do you find once you've done that thing, whether it be shower or the dishes or make the bed,
whatever it is,
it rolls?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, more often than not.
Yeah.
And it does. It rolls. It's a domino effect, and then it becomes easier to just. It's that cliche of just one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
It moving forward and having in my head too. You can't fight a battle lying down. That saying.
It's true.
Like so, physically, just moving.
Yeah. Wow. What about you, Earla?
I suppose the same reason, but for me, it's not just do one thing. It's almost the guilt of that. Like I could at least do just one thing, but I'm staying in bed. So I suppose for me, it's the guilt of not doing anything and feeling like I'm being lazy, even if it's just because I just absolutely have no mental energy to just exist that day, that I do just want to stay in bed. For me, it's always the thing that ends up getting me out of bed. If it's not to go to the bathroom because I've got an absolutely tiny bladder, but more just the guilt of I don't want to be lazy, or I've got to get up and just do something because otherwise I'm just going to feel worse.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's interesting because it's the same thing but from different perspectives.
Yeah.
One's out of like, if I start, I know I'll continue. The other's like, I need to start because otherwise I feel bad.
I have guilty times too. Now I'm actually just being freaking lazy, But other times where I actually mentally don't want to get up, then that's the push. Because different motivators, I guess.
But
guilt's a big one for people though, eh? Like we do. We're all racked with guilt about just lying in bed. If we feel like just lying in bed for the day, what's wrong with that? You know? Yeah. Like the expectations we put on ourselves, don't want to be lazy, be seen as being lazy.
Yeah.
Or potentially what you're used to having other people put on you that you now internalise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So those values of our parents or whoever we've had growing up, those voices.
Yeah.
Oh, you're lazy, or you're useless because you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Or
I got up at 6 a.m. How come you didn't?
Talked about that last night on stage.
Dylan did a whole bit about that. Yeah.
It's just really interesting because mine is a cross between guilt and I have motivational things I do, like mostly it's music. If it's a weekday, it's guilt.
Right.
But my guilt is not, I'm being lazy and other people. My guilt is I could call in sick. But it means one of my colleagues has to do my work.
Right.
And I feel bad for them doing my work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not fair on them.
Yeah.
And so that makes me go to work. And I know the other thing is once I get into the car, I'll be okay. It's getting to the car that's the issue. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once I'm in, the music's on, and it's like a 7 to 10 minute drive to work, and I'm like, in that 7 to 10 minutes, I'm okay. Then I get to work and I hate to say this, I can fake it long enough till I get home.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the good thing about where I work is it's like I can put on headphones and the people leave me alone.
Right.
So I blast music and all that sort of thing. And I work while I do it. If it's the weekend, it's different though. I have to do the things to get myself going.
Yeah.
So there's music I have to play to myself and all that sort of thing.
Right. Yeah.
Thankfully, those are becoming less and less.
Yeah, right.
Like, they're a little bit better.
Yeah. One's an external motivator almost, isn't it? And the other's an internal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I can't stand the idea of someone having to do my work. And I still get paid. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's why I feel bad, is I'm getting paid to not do my job. And I'm like...
Yeah, there's always that sense of obligation with work, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have a work ethic, basically.
Yeah.
Just thinking too, because Earla works from home as well. From home, and that just got me thinking too. Yeah, how is that hard for you to get motivated? Like, because you're working from home, how does that impact like your mental health? Being at home all of the time, if potentially. So working from home, just being in those four walls. How do you find it?
At first, I preferred it because it was my own space, so I didn't have to, do the whole like, oh my gosh, we're having a great day. How are you today? My life is just a box of fluffies. So at first I preferred it because I didn't just want to have to pretend. And then after a bit, I found that actually working from home meant that because I didn't have to pretend, there was that lack of positivity in my day at that point because, the whole fake it till you make it thing somehow does actually work for me, where if I go to work and I pretend like I'm having a great day long enough, then it does actually turn into an all right day. For the most part, there is still those days where it never happens, but I find actually going into office is a lot better. I still don't necessarily want to do it, but it's a lot better.
Can you choose?
2 days on, 2 days off. So so we have like set work from home days. And
you do have to go on those other 2 days.
Yes, unless I'm unwell.
Right. Yeah. So then that's quite a good balance for you then, would you say? Yeah. From what you're saying, okay. Yeah, that's cool.
I get my dose of social for the week and then go home for the rest of it.
I always find that the office days are best if you time it right, because usually you want to be in on a Friday or a Monday because that's generally when you have the afternoon teas. Do you know what I mean?
That's fair enough.
Mondays are good to be in because if we have new staff, we do a big thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like they usually start on a Monday.
Right.
So I make sure on Mondays I'm there. I'm there for the sausage rolls.
Well, that's a good motivator, sausage rolls.
Yeah. Although I will admit there's been days where we've had new people start and I haven't gone in and just gone and bought a sausage roll. So, do you know what I mean? Because I'm just like, I'll have my own ceremony.
Fair enough.
I'll just make it work.
Yeah.
I woke up today. I'm going to treat myself.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Some days you just got to.
Yeah.
And your partner, does he... I don't want to go... He's not here, so I don't want to dive into his life too much.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? But does he also suffer from any mental health things, or is he a pretty cool, cruisy dude?
Both.
Bit of both. So the only reason I asked that you don't have to go into any more than that is just so you... Like, obviously you've got that support dynamic of, like, I'm having a bad day, and so he comes and supports you and vice versa. Is that kind of how you operate? And then you get those days where you're both a bit rough and...
Yep.
That's okay too. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
like, at least you're going through it with someone and you're not alone and all that sort of thing. That's
I think
really
because it's not quite I think we're coming up on 2 years at this stage.
Awesome.
We're still learning a little bit on how to properly support each other, especially when we're both having a hard time. But the important thing is that we are having those conversations, which is really good.
100%.
So communication's really important, of course, but I think we've got that down pretty well.
And sometimes in those situations, failure is an achievement because you're eliminating what doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he might or you might be like, well, I'll go make some poached eggs for them, or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I don't like poached eggs. It's like, okay, well, that was a failure, but we're one step closer to how you like the eggs. Do you know what I mean? Like, okay, I'll try scrambled next time, sort of thing. And I always find that's one thing to really embrace is that if you get it wrong, don't give up. Like, try again, try something different. And, it might be that on those days the coffee needs 3 sugars. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. We all have those days.
Yeah.
A good sweet coffee.
Yeah. That's really cool. And Therese, obviously Earla records music.
Yes.
And I do stand-up and podcasting.
Yes.
So the question's coming to you now. Like, what's your... you do stand-up. We do stand-up together.
Creative outlet. So, I love being on stage. And I'm terrified of it at the same time.
Good.
I definitely understand that.
Yeah. I'll be worried if you were
so
like...
what the hell am I
no
doing?
Problems.
Yeah. But I think that fear of it is what motivates me as well, because it's about me been a bit vulnerable as well.
Yes.
Practicing that.
Yeah.
Which has taken me many, many years to understand how important that is.
Yeah.
And I just enjoy the process. I love writing.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy the writing part of it.
Yeah.
I love the frustration of it because often there's a breakthrough about to happen if you're getting really, really frustrated or something's not working, but you're still at it.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that, and I enjoy writing poetry.
Yeah.
And
wow.
I'd love to hear some at some point.
And I enjoy playing the guitar. But I've got a love-hate relationship with that.
Yeah.
Because I would love, so I'd call myself Jack of all trades, of various things, but I've never got really good at something. And I was talking to your mum, Earla's mum, Yvette's a good friend of mine, and her and I have talked about this. It's great to experience different things in life, but you never actually master anything. And I thought there's something I'd like to really do something really well, rather than just lots of little bits. Yeah. So with the guitar, I've picked it up and put it down probably 1,000 times in my life. I'll learn a little bit and get into it, and then I'll put it down. Yeah. And I won't pick it up for 2 years. And then I'll pick it up again, and I'll learn a bit more, and I love it. But then I put it down again. And I don't know why I do that. Why don't I just stick at it? You know, that frustrates me about myself.
It's funny you say that because Kels the other day, not a few weeks ago, told me the exact same thing about the guitar.
Okay.
He loves playing it.
Yeah.
But he, just like you said, he does it in batches.
Yeah.
A few months really good, then nothing for ages.
And it's not like I even hit a brick wall. It's not like I hit a learning brick wall. Yeah. Where I'm like, oh no. I'll play it, and I'm like, this is it. I'm going to be playing it for the rest of my life, and then I'll put it down.
I know exactly how you feel.
Yeah,
I feel the same way. Yeah,
even when you're at your level. Yeah.
I mean, I was trained in singing, but absolutely not in guitar. I self-taught, so I like to think I can strum all right, but I cannot pick or anything like that. Okay. So definitely the same thing. I put the guitar down for I think 3 straight years, and then pretty much had to just reteach myself guitar when I picked it up again.
Okay.
Wow. So
yeah. All right, because I've heard you play guitar when you were younger. I don't think I've heard you when you're. Oh mate, just blew my mind. You're just a beautiful player.
I get really shy about playing in front of people, which is hilarious because I just want to be a performer, but yeah, it's the same thing, you want to go up on stage, but you're just terrified of doing it. Yeah.
It's interesting, huh? Yeah. That paradox. It's kind of and I enjoy theatre, of course. But and I tried a bit of art recently, doing pastel drawing.
Cool.
Yeah. It was kind of cool, but it took ages. Yeah, I just don't think I have the patience for much, mate. I just want a result now.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Did you, sorry, Earla, with your performing, you've been singing for a long time, and you said you've been trained to sing.
Yeah.
So have you done a lot of live performance?
No, I avoided it quite a bit.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do it. I remember Googling how to become a world famous singer at 11 years old. And I think it was around the time that Justin Bieber actually started coming up on people's radios.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But I've always hated performing because it is so vulnerable. That for some reason I think I just kind of almost tied my own value up in it. If I wasn't good at it, then what was the point? Yeah. So I've always been terrified of doing it. I've always had the opportunity, and most of the time I've turned it down, which I've learned to regret. But definitely hated it.
You know what you should do? This sounds weird, but next time we're doing the comedy course, don't come for the writing part. But you should come for the stage performance part. Because
That sounds terrifying.
No, it's heaps of fun. Yeah. We won't make you do a joke.
No.
But we'll make you do the other things we get everyone else to do.
Ironically, I think I'd be more comfortable doing bad jokes.
Oh, well, then come for the whole thing.
Yeah.
As long as it's heaps of fun. But it's amazing how many people have done that course because they want to be better speakers. We haven't had any singers yet. That's why I want you to come do it. Just so we got.
Well, hello.
Yeah, but I won't name who it is. But we've had a politician come through, who wasn't a politician at the time but inspired to be. And he's like, I want to be better at speaking on stage. So he's like, so I thought I'll do this because it'll also help me with speech writing as well.
Yeah.
And now he's a member of parliament.
That's really cool.
You know what I mean? And he has said to me, like, one of the reasons I got in was because of this.
Yeah.
And he's like, I didn't have the confidence to get on stage. And then we did this, and we especially did the day where we were on stage. And he's like, it made a big difference.
Yeah.
Because we get you to literally play these games so you feel like a bit of an idiot.
Yeah.
And then if you can get through that, it's like everything else is easy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just that first spotlight that you need to get through.
Yeah.
And because we do it in a real controlled environment, like there's no one else there. It's a proper theatre, proper lights, everything, but empty.
Yeah.
Once you get through it, they tend to be like they had their first show last night, and the feedback we're getting is like, that day made a difference. Like, after you do that day, we feel we can do it, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you're welcome to come.
That's really cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Cool.
Is that something that you want to get into more of?
Performance?
Yeah.
Yeah,
not?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a really important part of being a performer in any of the arts, really, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But as a singer, I guess you have that option, right? Like, well, any art, I guess you don't have to be up on stage in a live performance,
True.
do you? You could do video.
Yeah, and I'm working towards video as well.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm trying to, I suppose, work on multiple things at once at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would really like to be more comfortable getting up on the stage, especially alone. My biggest thing is, like, if I'm up with someone else, I can manage it.
Okay.
But I get terrible stage fright. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I'll forget everything.
It's a horrible feeling, eh? You
especially
just
when I
feel
know I
sick.
could do it in my sleep, and then I go up there and I'm just like, it's all gone.
Yeah,
It's done. I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny too, because I've been doing stand-up for 10 years, right? And then last night, 10 minutes before I went on stage, I had to message Jen. I can't remember any material. Could you remind me of some? Just one.
Yeah.
It's just out of my head.
But she remembered?
She remembered one bit, and once I wrote it down, I was like, oh, and this and this and this and this.
Ah, cool.
Do you know what I mean? I just need someone to go, like, slap. You know what I mean? Like, come on, you know this. And she did that for me.
Is that nerves? Because you don't
I don't
really
know.
get...
Don't know. I don't get nervous before a show anymore.
No, that's what I thought you'd
But
said
it was all
before.
just, I think it was just I enjoyed watching the show so much, I hadn't thought about it.
Right.
And then
you
it
hadn't
all
actually
just-
mentally prepared yourself for it.
It all just fell apart at the last minute.
Wow.
Yeah, it was quite funny.
It was really interesting, sorry, just as
Yeah.
talking about that, to hear Alexander say, he was quite, I don't know whether nervous or
He was
just...
nervous.
Because he was nervous excitement, I think.
Yeah.
Because he had to do something different. So he is a very experienced comedian.
Yeah, 10 years.
10 years.
Same as me, yeah.
And he's done the workshop course, the Comedy Hub's workshop course. I don't really know why. Just to
More skill.
More
He
skill.
changed. No,
I don't know.
Alexander he's more of a one-liner type comedian.
Oh, yeah.
And he wants to change some of his comedy, not all of it, and be more of a storyteller and write long jokes.
So actually write a bit was the word
Yeah.
he used, right? So so before the show to see him like
nervous.
I've never done a bit before. Well, I haven't done a bit for a long time or whatever it was. What did he say? Yeah, I do one-liners and I'm rude to people, but I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm really good at that, but I don't know how
fair,
to
it
do a
works.
full joke, and I didn't know that about him.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's actually really reassuring to see somebody of his experience get nervous before a show.
Yeah. It is really good.
Because I get real nervous every time.
It
Well,
goes.
that's the thing as well, is like you can't, when I saw you perform, you didn't seem nervous at all, and I would honestly have never known if you hadn't actually told me.
No.
But you didn't appear it either
No.
on stage as well.
No.
Yeah.
And that's the thing though, what you're feeling inside.
Yeah.
People can't, they don't actually know how you're feeling.
Yeah.
You
No.
know?
Yeah.
Unless you're physically showing something.
Yeah.
Or your voice is wavering.
See, my voice wavers.
Oh, yeah, but
Yeah.
does it?
Yeah.
So now Esplanade Day.
Yeah.
Did you think it wavered that day?
Oh, it did the entire time. The
Did I
entire
hear
time.
it? No.
You see, they don't know. Just
No.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you can get over that critic.
And that's what I
Yeah.
tell myself
Well,
every
it
time.
honestly did work in my favour personally, but yeah.
Right, okay, yeah. Sounded part of the song, yeah. You can add a bit of wavering in, you know, but I honestly didn't hear that.
Yeah. And see, I didn't hear it in your voice either. Yeah.
So,
There you go.
Yep.
What's interesting about Therese, she doesn't know this as well, but she's going to know this, is that everyone who sees her regularly perform is so impressed with her at the moment because she started as a character.
Mm.
And that was her
That's
way of finding that
right.
confidence.
You saw Doreen once.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now, like, the first time she was like, no, I'm not going to do Doreen anymore. I was like, yes.
Mm.
We get to see the real person now. And that was
That's really cool.
brilliant.
Yeah.
It is brilliant.
I've
Loved
always
it.
loved your stuff.
Oh,
It's
thanks, babe.
great.
Yeah. I've been loving it much more than the character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just feels more real.
What's been the big difference within your the word has escaped me.
So,
And what you talk about.
Yeah,
you
my
know?
material.
Yeah, material, thank you.
I used to say, Doreen gets all the good stuff. Like, she can say anything and get away with it, you know. But that was an excuse. I think, it's still the same material, really, because it's just jokes, you know. I don't have that much material to begin with. But, I don't know. It's just like, it's okay for me to say whatever as well. You know, I don't have to have a character, and I don't feel I was hiding behind it. I enjoyed the character, but I can say whatever as well. You know, I want to push the boundaries, and see what I'm comfortable with saying.
Yeah.
Just have fun with it, really. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a heads up now, and I'll keep talking for a few minutes, and then we're going to come back to the question. All right. So at the end of every show, we ask, our guests have to give a piece of advice, and the piece of advice has to start before you jump. Right. So before you jump, blah, do this, or try this, or whatever you want it to be. So I'll give you a few minutes to think, both to think about that, because I want one from each of you. It could be whatever you want. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So have a think about that for a few minutes. But in the meantime, where can people find your song?
Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, just I suppose those three are the main ones. YouTube seems to be the easiest for people to access.
Cool.
I've got my artist name is RHØDES, O with a slash through it.
Yeah.
But if you just search anxiety, it tends to come up as well.
Okay. Could you message me a link, and when we
Absolutely.
put this up later, I'll put links up to
That'd
it
be great, thank you.
so people can hear it. And Therese, what's your favourite bit at the moment? You don't know. I don't want to hear the whole bit because I don't want you to burn the material. Just wanted you to give us a thing. What's your favourite joke to do at the moment on stage? Because I can tell you my favourite one of yours. That's all.
I don't actually know.
It's a hard question, eh?
Yeah, because it's all one thing in a way.
It's like picking your favourite child.
Yeah. No, shit, I don't know. Maybe it's the Catholic priest bit.
Yeah, I love that.
Do you?
Yeah, I really do.
Cool.
I love that bit as well.
Because it made me, it was like, ooh, can I? It was pushing the boundary for myself personally. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love it. Because it's so, in fact, that whole bit where you lead up to it about the whole, like, life was so hard. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love that because it's so anti,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like, anti-establishment humour sort of thing, you know? Like, I think it's
privilege.
I think it's fantastic.
It's laughing at privilege a bit too. Oh, God, my life is so hard. You know?
Yeah.
But, it's funny, that whole thing, why the land or it won't. I've had really different reactions to it. But yeah, so is that the bit that you like?
I love that, but I've also always liked, I think you did this as Doreen as well, the teenagers with monosyllabic.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Good.
I like that one.
I just love the way you deliver it. It's like, it's a great joke, but it's just more your delivery of it.
Yeah.
The whole way
Nah.
that, yeah, the way
Good.
he spits it out.
Nah. Why?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Only a parent would know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Gotta love moody teenagers.
Oh, yeah.
I got one more question for both of you, and then I'll get you to give you a piece of advice.
Mm-hmm.
When you're feeling down, is there a piece of music that gets you back up? Not your song. But it can, I mean...
Well, it might for some people.
Yeah.
But
I think that would be cool, but... oh, gosh, that's a hearty question. Yeah.
That sort of go-to.
Mine changes quite a bit.
Yeah, that's cool.
There's a Doja Cat song that I actually really like.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's actually called.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like a self-love song of hers, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's it by?
Doja Cat.
Okay. I'd never heard of them. Her. Okay, cool. I will look it up.
Doja Cat.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I will look the person up, and I tell you what. When you send me the link for yours, find the song and send me that.
Yeah,
send me the
that
name
as well.
and we'll add it, and I'll put it on my playlist because the more of these you get, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So mine, while Therese looks hers up, mine is Jimmy Eat World, which is one of my favourite bands.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And they have a song called 555.
Ah, yeah.
Okay.
And I love that song. It's all about mental health. It's actually about anxiety.
Wow.
But the lyrics are really about keeping it simple. Focus on the simple things.
Yeah.
Try and find some peace along the way. That's the lyrics of it. Yeah, I really like that. Therese?
Mine is Express Yourself. Oh, I'll just take that off. Charles Wright.
Oh, I was hoping you'd say NWA, and I'd be like, yeah!
Nah. Yeah, just like, it's upbeat. It just puts me, can flip a switch, really.
Yeah.
It just puts me in a fun mood, like a much better mood. And it's a reminder to just be who you are.
Yeah.
No matter what. Yeah, it just reminds me to have the courage to be that.
Right. It's on the playlist. I've just added it.
Cool.
Awesome. So yeah, thanks for coming along. Thanks for coming along and doing the podcast. It's been awesome.
Thanks for inviting me.
Once we get it all built, we'll get you back. But once we get it on the condition, once it's built, it'll have video and you have to sing your song.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah. Bring a guitar. I don't have.
All right. That's fine.
No pressure, babe.
Yeah. No, sorry. You're on. You're on.
Yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge.
Yeah. Good place
so
for it.
Before you jump, did either you want to go first? Did you think of one?
I haven't thought of one, really. I mean, there'd be so many. Before you jump.
Be genuinely honest with your loved ones about how you're feeling.
Oh, that's great.
Nice.
I like that.
Hey, well, on that vein then, can I jump on the back of that and just say, before you jump, ask yourself if you've been honest with yourself.
Wow. Yeah. That's good.
Might be. But yeah, that's a question I ask myself a lot and find very helpful.
Yeah. No, great advice. I think they're both really good. And one needs to happen before the other.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think.
Absolutely.
Although, as I've come to realise lately, we've I'm not afraid to say this, but me and my wife have gone through a lot of marriage stuff in the last 6 months. Like, it's been, good Lord, it's been rough. Like, we're at 15 years of marriage, and it's just like, we feel every minute of it. We felt every minute of those 15 years at one stage. We're through it now, but still. But there was a lot of, what you said, we had to be honest with each other, but we had to be honest with ourselves first, and that was like really hard. And sometimes when we're having the conversation with the other person, we realised the honesty.
Yes.
So by talking about it, we actually clicked on like,
you can get to that, having those conversations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's also important, it doesn't just have to be your loved one. I think it's your employer. Like, you have to be honest with them and be like, I'm feeling this. And all that sort of thing. And I'm really lucky. I've got a great relationship with my manager at the moment. And we're at that stage where we can do that, where we can ring each other and be like, honestly, need to tell you this, and it's appreciated. So I think you're both right. It's amazing. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
Welcome back anytime. If you ever want to come on and just like blurt stuff out, just let us know, and you're both welcome back. So thanks. And soon we'll have the man sitting here again, and he'll
with his new nose,
and pecs.
Gorgeous.
Oh, you should see him.
He's hot already, but he's just gonna be.
Yeah, well, not at the moment. He's all scar tissue.
Oh yeah.
He's all heinous, but
you can come just a fangirl, eh?
Oh, absolutely.
Here we talking. You're just like, say more.
Yeah. I'll come as the groupie.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I'll be happy.
You're
to
like
fill that role.
scream in the background, like
yeah. Go Kels.
Go nose.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Yeah.
See ya.
See ya.